But this one blows my mind. I've never heard of this before.
Can I ask you a quick question? What's that? Well, how long have you been on the market? Three weeks. Yeah. And how many offers have we received? None. So what is the market telling us about the listing price that we have right now?
Well, and what I heard that you did is, as you said, you took it a step deeper. It wasn't just, oh, I'm moving to Fort Lauderdale. Thanks, next question. It was, you're moving to Fort Lauderdale. What's important about getting to Fort Lauderdale for you? And then it went that next level deeper, which is, I have a relative that needs my care. Now that's an emotional reason. People make decisions based on emotion. So you're bringing people from that surfacey level of, where most agents will stop at, I'll get you more, faster, faster, more, faster, faster, more. Most agents will stop there. You're going those levels deeper as to discovering what really is going to bring them that emotion, whatever that is, whether it's going to be, if I'm going to help my family in Fort Lauderdale, fulfilled because I'm helping my family. And that's an emotion. Yeah. Tell me, how did you get so good at questions?
That's a great question. When I first started in direct sales part of real estate, right? When I first got into real estate, I did postcards and waited for people to call. I got rejected a lot, like a lot. It took me like 6 months. And I'm a very competitive person. So I started recording my role plays. And this is not like we have today where technology's a whiz. It was plugging a cassette player into the phone and then driving around with the cassette and listening to me getting hung up on, and then it was just talking to great agents like yourself, asking them, how did you become so good? That's one thing. The second thing was learning the scripts, internalizing, not just learning them, internalizing them. And that allows me, because if you look at most of the scripts, they are question based, right? And then the third thing is, I had a coach one time, I asked her the same question you asked me. How did you get so good at asking questions? Her coach said, for 30 days, why don't you write down 50 questions a day, open-ended questions, which are who, what, when, where, why, and how. And then, that will help you get out of thinking in statements and start thinking in terms of questions. So you can go ahead and take an example of whatever is going on in the market, maybe the objection that you're getting, and then have a conversation with yourself in terms of asking questions. So you may not write down the replies, but you write, in your head, you answer it and you write down the next question. So that way, when you're talking to somebody, it's just natural asking them that question.
That's rich. So I as I was listening to you, I wrote down, you recorded yourself, even though you had a lot of friction in getting there. I mean, let's face it, recording ourselves years ago on a tape recorder, because I did it too. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and yet you took the steps to do it. You asked great agents for help. You learned the script, and you realize those great scripts are question-based. But this one blows my mind. I've never heard of this before. For 30 days, you wrote down 50 questions per day.
I still write about 10 questions to 15 about 2 to 3 times a week. And that helps because, what happens if you have an inspection report that comes back? Do you immediately call the seller? Because if you did your first step of pre-qualifying them and their where, their when, and the why, let's face it, a lot of sellers are like, well, it's been working fine just for me. I'm not taking care of it, right? They can take care of it. They're getting a hell of a deal. Look at the Taj Mahal. It's beautiful over here, And it's like, well, if you don't do it, they're going to walk. So they may not want them to walk, but they're going to fold their arms over and say, well, I don't want to give in, let them walk. So how you would handle that in questions is, Mark, I can certainly appreciate that this is very frustrating for you. It's frustrating for me because I know how important it is for you to get to Orlando to be closer to your family. I know what it's going to do for you. So we have a couple choices here, and it's totally up to you. It's your house. I just want to make sure that you make the best decision. We can say the heck with them. Go pound salt. Go kick rocks. We're not doing a darn thing. As is as is. Option number 2 is we can figure out to find a happy medium. Which would you prefer? Well, I'm not going to do anything. No problem. You don't have to do anything at all. Let me ask you this. The inspection report showed that the roof has several leaks, correct? At some point, you're going to have to replace the roof. Do you want to do it right now in terms of negotiating with the buyer, and so that way you can get to Orlando? Or would you rather sit here for the next 3 to 6 months and do the roof yourself? Totally up to you.
Now, what you did there was wonderful. It was brilliant because where I've so many times in my career, I've said, well, you got to take this offer. And whose perspective is that? That's mine.
Yeah.
Versus you gave them the latitude to know that they were in control and you spelled out their choices. But the first thing that you did, even before you spelled out their choices, you reminded them of why they were making this move. You reminded them of what was important. So you brought up their motivation. And then through the
Correct.
process, I felt super comfortable. I felt like either way, you were going to be supporting me. So, that was, it felt to me like a win-win question. So
just like when they get an offer, the house is set at 500,000 and they're like, they get an offer of 465. That's insulting. I'm not taking that. I can certainly agree that you feel this is insulting, and we don't have to take this. Can I ask you a quick question? What's that? Well, how long have you been on the market? 3 weeks. Yeah. And how many offers have we received? None. So what is the market telling us about the listing price that we have right now?
it could be too high.
Yeah. And you know how agents get paid, right? They don't get paid a salary, they get paid a commission.
Yeah.
And so we haven't even gotten the agents to slow their buyers down enough to write us an offer. So we have a choice. We can work with this buyer and counter. We can let them go. And then in 30 days now, we can reduce the price again. My question is, Mark, how much does this cost you every month to carry your home?
It's costing us about $3,000 a month.
Yeah. So as of right now, if it took another 8 months for you to get a contract, isn't that the same thing today as taking 465?